God bless you all. Welcome back to Harbinger Automotive. Today we are going to be installing some tweeters on a 2022 Toyota Corolla Cross. This isn't necessarily going to be a how-to video. I am going to show you some things on what I'm doing, but I'm just going to show you the general run-of-the-mill on how tweeter installs go. And I'm going to be installing them probably right here on the door, or all the way back here, just finding the flattest surface to go on. And I'll show you guys some tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do, and to have a quality tweeter install. So let's get right into that video. Our tweeters of choice today are some Skar Audio VX200 ST, and these guys are actually really good for the price. I think they are like $27 on Amazon, and they come with, I mean, this is, I think this is like billet aluminum or some sort of aluminum coating, and it's actually like kind of heavy. And then you got your high pass filter and 200 watts of RMS, which is out there. It's obviously not going to be using all of that, but let's start the install. First things first, we got to remove this door panel. It's a Toyota, so there's probably a lot of clips, and then there's probably one bolt behind this here, and we got to pop this window switch out of there. Other than that, I think it's probably going to be most likely all clips that we're going to have to pry out of there. So I'm going to start on that process, and I'm probably going to time lapse it, just to kind of sum it up quickly. Just like that, our door panel is off. There's one of two things we can tackle first, and for those of you who didn't see, these pop up and these almost slide over and slide up out of that slot there. I'm sorry, I was probably getting blocked by the window there, but it was just an awkward angle. Here we are. This looks like a factory 6.5-inch mid speaker. You know, they're all right. I'm not the biggest fan of mids, but to each their own. As you can see here, here's our speaker connector. I think what our plan is going to be is to cut open this wiring loom here, or in our case, undo some electrical tape and tap in our 3-way connections for our tweeters, and we'll get to crimping and or soldering and or both. And quick recommendation for these tweeters: do not solder to this. Do not, because I've installed these in the past, and to say the least, that solder did not hold for long with all the vibrations that were going through the door and through that. It ended up just breaking. So I'm actually going to use a female connector to connect to this. I'll probably solder to a female connector, connect to that. So I think we're going to start with tapping into our factory wiring, and let's get right into that. Now we're going to take our wire snippers, and they also make the wire colors very easy to understand. Okay, I think honestly this will be enough wire. If we can undo this, make some 3-way connections. So all you do, give yourself some room and we can go make ourselves some three-way connections. And I honestly think I'm going to try and trim this back as far as I can when it comes to getting this wire out of this electrical tape. Just because. Now at this point, what you're going to want to do is take wire strippers of choice. There's many different kinds out there, and I'll probably just stick with these for now. These are fine, but sometimes they can take away strand. Something sad about these connectors, these wires these days, these are so incredibly thin. Like, how much power are you realistically pushing out of this? I think these speakers stock are like 25 watts, something pathetic, you know? So don't mind me. Let's go ahead and we're gonna give ourselves a good amount of room here. Trying not to depin the connector while we're at it, but just enough room to make a three-way connection. And I'll show you a pretty simple way on how to get some good three-way connections that will last. Still don't know if I'm gonna solder these or not. I might, but I still don't know. Some sort of wire. Doesn't need to be speaker wire, but it's definitely recommended. I here have this whole wiring kit. No, I'm not going to be using all of it. I just need the orange speaker wire. Something that we are on a true shortage of around here is female connectors. I've done too many tweeter installs and I've got no female connectors left. So I'm going to run to the store real quick, grab some. Also grab the mounting hardware to be able to mount these tweeters. It's going to be some really cool black self-tapping screws that'll blend in with that perfectly. I'll show you guys what to buy. I'm getting it from Ace Hardware. Hopefully you have one close by, but I'll be right back with the correct supplies. We are back with the goods. Ace Hardware, shout out. Time to get the soldering iron warmed up. Don't mind all this junk everywhere. You tell me. You know we gotta go with that Harbor Freight special. I think this was like $2.50. Something scary cheap. Get that warmed up. If you've never used a soldering iron before, I'll show you how. One thing I like to do is grab a clamp just like this and actually clamp the extension cord to the table so this doesn't fall down and cause you to burn yourself. That means it might seal well. Being optimistic. Slide on our wire there. You know, you don't really need to shrink wrap, but I think because I mean it's more or less for weatherproofing, but I just like the fact that it actually holds the wires together when you're doing this. So slide your wire in there, and we're gonna take the 22-18 and just crank that down Some of our protective coating came off on the connector, but that's okay. Gives us more room to actually solder that connection. And I'm going to take just a small piece of cardboard like this and just rest it on there. Not enough, you can just touch the tip there. As you can see, that solder is melting. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hold that soldering iron on that wire to heat that wire up. Get in some more soldering wire ready, and as it's held on there, once you start feeding it, since that wire is already hot, it'll melt right into that connection there. Let that heat up, heat up, heat up. Okay. Blow on it to cool it off, just because you want that soldering iron to harden. Just like that. That connection is seriously not going anywhere. I'm gonna get a lighter or like a little blowtorch to be able to shrink that wire up. You know, a lighter would just work fine, but I have one of these little butane torches. You just got to be more careful with the torch, just because you don't want to burn anything. So we'll open our butane up a little bit and just hit this with a quick. There you go. There's one connection. This is going to be the positive connection that connects to this guy there. Male connector here. And I think I'm going to take this wire and wrap it around like that and just fill that gap with solder there. I'm going to get a little tiny hammer. Don't want this coming undone. We'll heat up our connection here and just fill it with solder. Now has come the time where we need to do our three-way connection to be able to obviously get power to the tweeters. Some people are gonna say that this is low quality work. I mean, look at those right there. Don't those just look so good? But what I am going to do is take our connectors here and we're going to get our wires, strippers, crimpers. We can go ahead and strip it. Have them in parallel like so. We're just going to twist these guys together. Take our 22/18s and just really go down on them there. Do a little pull test. I think I'm going to redo this one. And just really crimp down on it. Now, that's much better. I'm going to slide it down like that. Get our wire here for our positive connector. Twist it up. You hold it in there flush down on that. And then we can just the next step, which is the borderline scariest step, is cutting a hole in the door. Bum bum bum. As you can see, there's an outline here. These are definitely by far the hardest to fit in. I'll show you guys how to do that, but I'm gonna actually take a hole saw that is the perfect size for these. As you can see, their cutout diameter is 2 3/4, so I'm gonna go grab a 2 3/4 hole saw from the barn. But if you guys do not have one, they're like $7-8 on Amazon, next day shipping if you have Prime, and it is going to be so worth it rather than trying to cut that by hand. Trust me, it's worth it. Order the correct size hole saw, wait the extra day to install it, but let's start cutting some holes. Okay, I have the door panel flipped over because you just want to be able to get a good visual. We don't want to be drilling into this, so it looks like if we are to flip this up the middle, this is right here, so that would be right next to the door handle. I don't think we want that. I think we're gonna honestly do it right here where my finger is. I think that's good. Tweeter. All I'm going to do is just mark. I'm gonna get a marker and mark where we want our middle. I think I want it to be right along this line here, so I'm just gonna mark that with making sure that you're applying. There you go. Now that your hole saw is now contacting this, we're just gonna there you go. There's your hole. The reason we had the tape there is just to protect that outer edges there. Now we can pull our tape wall up. I'm gonna cut to when this is done. You guys get the point. Boom, just like that. It is more or less fully seated. It's on a curved surface, so it's not gonna seat perfectly, but it's gonna be good enough for my standards. What I'm gonna do next is drill some pilot holes for our mounting screws. So we can switch from our, so you can just pop some pilot holes. Actually, I'm gonna just stand on the chair like this for now. Oops. I like to actually set the door down on the ground, feed the wires through the hole here, and I'm gonna mount this tweeter while it's on the ground because I need to hook those up as well. So what I'm going to do is obviously positive to positive. Don't tighten it too much just yet. Just confirm that the tweeters do work. Hooray. That is a good thing. Now our door can start to go back on. You do want to make sure your wires stay behind the door panel. And we can take our green cable, put it back in the latch, white cable back in the latch there. Kind of line our door up, start popping these clips back in, make sure these holes are lined up. Might tighten this screw just a skosh. Cross thread it. Keep cross threading it. Oops. This plug. This big plug goes on the bottom. Click. Click. Slide it back into place like so. And boom, clicked into place. So I truly hope this video blessed you guys and made your day better, and I hope it made your install easier. God bless you all. I hope you have a blessed rest of your Friday, or whichever day you're watching this, and just know, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, because God is with me. Psalm 23:4, take that with you. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.